Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, today I'm excited to bring you guys a really interesting video. So thank you again to EWEADN for sending me out the Battle68. So this is their new budget Hall effect board, and when I mean budget, I mean incredibly budget. We're talking about starting at $49. So this is going to be incredibly interesting. But of course, I want to thank you guys for always supporting this channel so that I can try out these kind of new boards, and I want to bring you guys, of course, the best content. So please make sure to leave comments saying what I can do better and what you guys want to see. Now, let's get straight into the unboxing, and please make sure to like and subscribe.
So starting off with the unboxing of the EWEADN Battle68. Now this is supposed to be an incredibly budget Hall effect rapid trigger gaming keyboard. So you get 3 extra switches, switch puller, keycap puller, your basic cable. I'm gonna be honest, for the price you're getting a decent amount of accessories, right? You still get extra switches and you're getting the most basic cable and switch puller and keycap puller. That's really more than you can ask for at this price. Now, of course, let's take a look at this board. Now, this is the Battle68. It is a plastic board. It does have those angles that you can put. The plastic that's used is actually not the worst. I mean, I would say, like, if you were to compare it, it's like the Ola F65 kind of plastic. But yeah, let's weigh this board before we go into a sound test. So this thing weighs about 670 grams, and let's hear the sound test. So I didn't want to bore you guys with a long teardown of this, but I did want to also keep in mind, like, showing you guys how to tear down this board, especially for those that are interested in getting it and want to do modifications. So you're going to need these specific tools, right? Like if you go on iFixit and such, you can actually get this tool. It's one of those electronics opener kits. Now, it gives you like this little very thin, almost like a guitar pick looking thing to be able to pry it, and then you get these extra tools to be able to get it open. It wasn't incredibly hard to actually open up, but I did want to, of course, like give you guys a full way to do so. Is the best way to do is, yeah, keep one of them inside one side and then use the other one to actually really pry, and then grab the more rigid tool to be able to actually get in and fully open it up. The flat one is probably the best one to use, to be honest, but really not too hard to get open, honestly. I just wanted to get the sides open carefully, but really not too difficult. Now, we do get a silicone bottom and a foam on top of it. Gotta admit, that's pretty impressive, right? They actually are putting in effort to really make a lot of dampening inside to make sure that there's not too much empty space. I was quite surprised, honestly. Like, it's actually quite surprising what they're willing to do with this board. Now, it is an aluminum plate, and they do have a foam in between the plate and the PCB. Now, doing a 2-layer tape mod. Sorry, there's a lot of parts I had to go through with it. My recording actually didn't get all of it, but it's 2-layer tape mod, and yeah, like it has the foam in between the aluminum plate and the PCB, which is really nice. Now, we're going to put it back together, of course. Very simple thing to do. And I noticed the spacebar also is quite hollow sounding, so I am going to mod the spacebar. So like every other keyboard that I've done, I'm going to put in like the car sound dampener and have it put right into the spaces. As you can notice with the keycap, they actually are pretty good. Gotta admit, like, I'm quite surprised at the quality of the keycaps, especially when I'm considering the price. Now, nice thing about these car sound dampeners is very easy to cut up and get it right into the perfect size, and then you just fill it up, like fill up the space bar with the empty spaces, and it really helps a lot with making the space bars sound much better. And yeah, I mean, this board is going to require some modifications to sound really good. Like, this is something you guys really need to know, is you will need to lube the switches and do some modifications on this board to make it sound just much better. Now, I'm quite surprised with it, honestly, for how budget is. The stabilizers are done really well. They are plate mount stabilizers and pre-lubed, and gotta admit, didn't have any tinging on the stabilizers. That was impressive. But the spacebar is hollow. Now, time for actually reviewing this board. Now, I was quite impressed. Honestly, when you consider the price, which is about 49 USD to 69 USD, depending on the specific version you get, that's an impressive price for a holific board now. Especially when a lot of the other ones I've tried is like low is around like 100, and like high is looking at like a few hundred, like 300 to like $500. This was a pretty impressive board. The plastic is not a bad plastic either, and like, think about it this way: the Wooting 60HE, my Wooting 60HE, which I spent about $550 modifying, doing all these things to it, originally came in a plastic case, like a bare plastic case. This is in a plastic case as well, and yet this is a much lower price. Like, you have to consider, this is a very low price for what it is. And to be fair, it is going to be a software based thing, right? All of these things are going to be mostly dependent on the software and the materials that are used. But we'll go into the software a bit later, and I'll show you guys what you're getting specific at this price. Now, this is coming with 3 different choices of switches. So there is different models of this board. This one I have is the Space Magnetic switch. So there's the Arctic Magnetic and the Panda Magnetic. Mine is with the Space Magnetic switch because mine is the red and black IMD version. There is a lower grade version. Of course, the keyboard's going to be 4K, and it's with a different switch, and it's going to have less foam in the keyboard. This is going to be the much more higher end version of the keyboard. So that's about 69 USD. Now, this switch, not lubed, is horrible. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sounds horrible, feels horrible. It is horrible without lubing it. But if you lube it, my goodness, does it make such a big difference. It sounds and feels way better, and you don't get stem wobble. So make sure when you get this board, lube the switches. It's a must. Now, I want to show you guys the backlighting of this board, right? Because it is a gaming keyboard. There's going to be those out there that are curious about the backlighting. Mine is a black switch with a light diffuser, so it might be a little bit darker, but I want to show you guys what it looks like. So as you can see, it is quite difficult to see with my camera. Like, it's really dim. The lighting is quite dim. You have to actually look at it from a very specific angle, but that's just because of the specific keycaps doesn't have shine through. So keep that in mind when you are looking at backlighting. Now, I wanted to show you guys the actual software. It is a web-based software. So you're looking at a web app, which is good, right? It's going to be much easier. You don't have to download anything, which is a super big plus. And this is what it looks like. So this is the EWEADN Hall Effect Rapid Trigger software, the web app. You do get multiple profiles, so that's a good thing, right? That's something that you do want, which is you want to be able to change from different profiles depending on what game you're playing and just your typing, because sometimes when you set it up for gaming, it's not great for typing. One thing great about this thing is you can also change the actual characters. So meaning if you are QWERYT, you can actually switch them around, which works really great. And of course you get your light settings. It is very basic, but it works well, right? The fact is you do get the option to change your lighting. Now you do have macro manager, so you can change and set up different macros. And this is the performance. So as you can see, I have the magnetic mirror switch, and we can now change it to all to have it as fast trigger, right? We can do independently set the release if we wanted to, or we can set per key. This is really great, right? So you can change the sensitivity from when it actuates and when it deactuates, and you can make these different changes depending on how you want to run your board, depending on your gaming. You're getting all these extra features on, yes, this is the most basic software you can probably think of, yet it works well, right? The fact is, it does work. It does everything you need. Only thing missing in this probably, I would say, is a demonstration of the actual trigger. So meaning how you're pressing it on your keyboard. Would be nice to have a demo available on this app, right? To be able to see what you're pressing and how you're pressing it. You have all these extra modes too, like rampage mode. It's really great. Like the fact is they really put effort into making something that actually works for gamers. And it is quite surprising, right? When you think about it, you're getting SOCD, dynamic keystroke, you're getting snap tap. You're getting all of these things in a $49 to a $69 gaming keyboard with rapid trigger, like Hall Effect gaming keyboard. I've already set it up for my Apex, right? So I have a profile set up already for Apex. It's really impressive, right? Now I'm going to use Keyboard Inspector to quickly test the polling rate. Now I don't have a device to actually test the latency, but as you can see, like this keyboard, it's actually pulling up really crazy numbers, but that's because of the scanning rate. So this is an 8K keyboard, which is the higher version. There is a lower version with the 4K, but as you can see, you are getting the full 8K experience with this board. Again, very impressive for this price range. And trust me, like I can try other boards and this is really impressive for this price. Like I'm actually quite impressed, especially when like I've tried other boards at a more pricier side, which weren't great. They were like $80 to like $100. Now, this is me, of course, in the practicing range, the shooting range for Apex, because I use rapid trigger specifically for Apex mostly, where I like to practice my super gliding, and specifically rapid trigger keyboards are very good to practice it. It's able to set it up very easily. You can make it much easier to super glide because it is a frame perfect thing. And the reason I hold a shotgun when I do it is because when you hold the gold bolt, you're actually able to tell if you really did a super glide, because when you do, it will do an automatic reload because it counts as you sliding and going quickly at the same time. Now, I am finding that I do need to make some more adjustments. I have to, of course, get used to the keyboard. That's something that's the same for everyone, right? Like even if you don't have a rapid trigger keyboard, it takes some time to get used to, but it's working well. I was able to super glide and get used to it. I had to make a little bit of changes in terms of the settings, of course, but you know, that's something that you're gonna have to do for yourself depending on how you press it, right? How you press C and space at the same time. Movement was very easy, very fluid. Picking up items was very fluid. I mean, in general, this works incredibly well, and I felt pretty comfortable using it too. It wasn't something that I felt like it was feeling awkward in a way, or like I felt like it was uncomfortable to use as a keyboard. But no, it was completely fine. very comfortable, and it doesn't take up a lot of desk space, right? It takes very little desk space, which is nice because I like to utilize a lot more of my desk. So when I'm gaming, and I like to have a smaller keyboard specifically when I am, gaming on my desk, or even sometimes when I'm working. But yeah, movement was very fluid, had no issues, and I would say making micro adjustments for like super gliding on this board was more required. I wasn't like right away, oh boom, I have it perfectly set like my normal settings that I normally use on other different Hall effect boards, but it worked completely fine. Now, I do want to go into an actual game and give you guys a little bit of footage there. So starting off, I went into a normal game, right? Just the trios, and from the landing, of course, to see how quick is it and how easy is it to quickly farm up in the beginning. Because again, when you have a Hall effect board, this is where the advantage comes. Was when you land. If you land with a team, I didn't land with a team. I thought I did, but when you're landing, it's important to quickly pick up a gun, right? Like you want to beat that 50-50. It is a 50-50, but you also want to be able to win that. That means, it's important to have that advantage of being able to quickly actuate a key, which is your E to pick up items. So definitely very great, very fluid. Didn't feel like I had a bit of lag or anything, or input lag while I was playing and picking up items. And as you can see, like I'm just about to get into a fight, I quickly press my alt, and then I'm able to quickly, crouch spam and fight them. Works incredibly well. Crouch spamming worked really well for this. And as you can see here, I'll super glide quickly to my teammate and be able to res them quickly as well. So these are the different things that I feel rapid trigger keyboards are very beneficial, specifically when you are in a more competitive game. Now, do you need a rapid trigger to have to play games? No, of course not. It's just a small advantage for those that want it. It's not a necessary thing. A lot of pro players don't use rapid trigger keyboards, right? But it is something that does allow for that small advantage, which is why like in CSGO and other games, they try to make it so that you can't use Rappy Snappy, right? Like Snap Tap, because it is almost like cheating. Now here, I was able to quickly get inside and fight, and I made some dodges. I used my alt really quick, but of course, I ended up losing that fight at the end because I didn't reload my gun, which is not a keyboard issue. That's a skill issue on my side. Now, we're going into another fight, and yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying using this keyboard. Like, it didn't feel any different, right? I was using this board only. I wasn't using my Wooting, and I didn't feel like I missed my Wooting, honestly. Like, it was completely fine. There are moments, of course, where, like certain things I feel I'm maybe a little bit less comfortable with in terms of the board, but that isn't because the board is a bad board. It's just I'm not fully used to it. Honestly, it is a bit thick. The board is a bit thick, so it's just getting used to that thickness and being able to really control every little movement I'm doing. But I'm like crouch spamming, dodging. Like as you can see here, that's crouch spamming, which I really love to do. I think it gives me a little bit of a benefit and advantage when I'm fighting. And yeah, this board was really great for that. Even at the end here, I picked up a knife. The knife was super hard to throw, honestly, like incredibly hard. I kept missing, but yeah, I mean, great board, honestly. Like if you're looking for something really budget, like super budget, because you don't want to spend a ton of money, this is a board definitely to take a look at, right? Especially now with how keyboard market is going, right? With specific Hall effect boards, it's definitely getting cheaper and cheaper. I think at the end of the day, what makes a Hall effect board so expensive is going to be the quality of material that's used and the software, right? I'm going to be honest, I don't know how long the software is going to be supported. I don't know how long this keyboard is going to be supported. I don't know if the software is going to get better over time or how it's going to be. That's the thing you don't know with these types of boards. Because it's not from a very large company that's very focused on this, it's hard to say, right? Like it's hard to say, is this board going to be the board that they're going to support forever, right? Wooting, on the other hand, is a company that has a really, really amazing software. It's like the best software in the market, and they really put that effort to keep supporting their boards, right? And as I was saying, this board, for the price, the stabilizers are really well done. I'm gonna be honest, my Wooting, when I first got it, the stabilizers were nowhere near as good as this one. Nowhere. I had so much stabilizer issues with my Wooting 68G that I actually ended up replacing the stabilizers on them. Now, this is just a small thing, right, about the Wooting. In general, if you're looking for a board that's going to be supported for a long time with good software, this might not be the thing to look at. But if you're just getting something quick, $49, it's worth it.
So, what did you guys think of this budget board? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like comparing this with the 60, the Air 60 HE, the the Mager, and the as well as the Mel's Geek one, the Made Pro, and all the different Hall Effect boards that I've tried. Like for the price that you're paying, this is really really good. Like it sounds good too. I was quite surprised. You're gonna have to lube the switches though. Like this is something you have to lube the switches. If you don't, it sounds horrible. This is my honest opinion. Without lubing the switches, this thing sounds horrible. Like the switches feel horrible and they sound horrible. But if you lube the switches, my goodness, does it make a big difference. It actually sounds really good. I was quite shocked of the sound quality, like the feel and the quality of this board. Right? I'm gonna be honest with you. When I got my 60HE and I felt the plastic case, I was quite shocked. Right? Because I was paid $200 for it, and it was a little bit of a disappointment feeling just a plastic case. But this is a $49 to $69 board, and it's Hall Effect. Yes, the software, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not gonna be amazing software. It's just your bare minimum software that you're gonna be able to use to set it up to do Hall Effect. So when you consider that, right, you're only spending like 50 USD to about 70 USD to get a Hall Effect board that works well. Though I'm gonna be honest, like as I said, if when you lube the switches, it's gonna be better. So once you lube it, you're getting a quality that's crazy, like a crazy quality board for very very little, right? Comparing it to all the other boards out there, this can't even compare because it's so cheap compared to them, right? Like my 60HE, I spent probably around $400 or $500 just modifying it and doing a lot of things to the board. The Mager is a good budget board as well, right? It has a decent software. I'd say out of more of the budget ones, it has a better software than most. The Air 60 actually as well has a really nice web software. I think I really like that too. So, but those are again aluminum boards at over $100, like about 110, 115. This you're looking at about $50. So you're getting 8K at $69. So about $70 you get 8K, and you get a really nice Hall Effect board that. Again, you can get one of these, and you can also buy another budget keyboard just for other purposes. So definitely take a look at the links below, and you're going to want to check this out. But thank you again for watching, and please go check out the other videos I got.